The two main characters of the story are an old couple, Grandpa, Shoujo Saito, and old grandma, Ayane Saito. The anime starts with a scene in a garden where the old married couple who were together for 60 years collecting flowers from the trees. Grandpa asked his wife about what she would want to do if she became young again. Grandma wondered and asked him back the reason for asking such a strange question out of nowhere. The grandpa got sad and reminded her about how poor they were, due to which they never went on a honeymoon, but she happily replied that chatting with him always made her happy, so she doesn't regret anything. Then they walked around to find an apple tree that they planted on their wedding. After looking for it for a while, they finally found the tree that held deep emotion in their heart for it. When they saw the tree, they got startled as there was a golden apple grown on the tree. A little while later sun sets and they reach their home. Grandpa went to wash his face. After he stared in the mirror, he got scared because he became fully young, as if he was 20-year-old again, so he ran shouting to the grandma. As he entered the room, both Grandma and Grandpa got shocked and kept staring at each other as Grandma also became fully young like Grandpa. Grandpa got excited, so he holds her tight and told her to go to their first honeymoon trip. Hearing this, Grandma got all red and flustered. Next day their granddaughter Mino came to their house. She enters the garden and sees a young man and woman cleaning the garden. While staring at them, she wonders whether she has entered someone else's home. She did not realize that her grandfather and grandmother had become young again. They noticed her and explained how they suddenly became young. Hearing this, Mino was lost in her imagination, wondering if this is a dream or not, but somehow, she acknowledged the truth. Then they went into the house and started talking. Mino was tightly clinging to her grandfather while sitting next to him. She asked her grandmother if she can take her grandfather for herself because he was very handsome, but her grandmother angrily refuses. After talking for a while with her grandparents, Mino went home in a car with her dad. Her dad is the son of the old couple. His name is Yoshiaki Saito. She tells him how his father became young again, but he does not believe this at all and ignored it. The next day they went to a field to play ground polo with their old friends. All the old guys were staring at Grandma the whole time while the old women were going crazy for Grandpa. They had a fun time playing. Then an old conversation between grandfather and his son is showed when his son asked Grandpa Shizu to come and live with him, but grandfather refuses because he had very fond memories of that house and so he stayed there with Grandma Ayane. The next day their daughter-in-law Kaida came to visit Grandma Ayane, but she wasn't at home. Kaida came in and saw that Grandpa was reading a newspaper. She couldn't believe her eyes and her heart got all flustered because she couldn't believe that Grandpa was so handsome. She called her husband to tell him about the situation and let him see with his own eyes. He came to their house soon after and was in distress as he couldn't believe it either. His mom Ayane patted his head like she did when was a kid. This reminded him of his childhood that made him feel the love of his mother again, so he also accepted the fact and he went home with Mino and Kaida. A few days later, a meeting was held where all the old men of Southtown gathered to decide their representation in the upcoming Inter-Town Sports Festival. They didn't have any strong contender, but they remembered about grandfather who was fully jacked and fit to participate in the event. From the recent previous years, Northtown had been winning the competition, but this time they can see the hope of winning through Grandpa. On the day of inter-sports competition, Northtown Council President Heisuke Igarashi came to degrade and demotivate Southtown members with his two grandsons, second-year soccer ace Shota Igarashi and high third-year baseball club captain Daisuke Igarashi. They kept laughing and making fun of Southtown. Suddenly Grandpa and Grandma called them out from behind. After seeing how jacked and young Grandpa became, his laugh changed to sorrow. The event started with tug-of-war between South and Northtown. Northtown was dominating in the beginning and Grandpa alone wasn't able to pull the rope. Watching Southtown lose, an old woman got an idea. She asked Grandma Ayane to cheer for them while dancing. Initially Grandma got embarrassed, but eventually she cheered while dancing for the team. Watching this, Grandpa and his friends got an adrenaline rush and they used their full strength at once and pulled the rope to the finish line, and everyone was in disbelief of their victory. Next event was three-legged race and Igarashi brothers were dominating, but their rhythm was not on the level of Grandma and Grandpa, who had rhythm of a 60-year-old couple, hence they beat Igarashi brothers quite easily. Just like that, all the other events were dominated by Grandpa and Grandma and they won the competition for the Southtown. After the event, they all had a feast together. Then Grandma revealed about how Heisuke Igarashi confessed her when they were young but got rejected, and his grandson realized why he had such hatred for Grandpa Shizu. A week after the sports festival, Heisuke Igarashi sends souvenir to the Saito family house through his grandson Shota. When Shota rang the bell, Mino came out. Shota panicked after seeing her because she was his classmate who was very popular with guys and girls, and he secretly liked that but never had the courage to confess. He gave her the gift and she asked him to come and have a tea with her. Her mother and grandparents were keeping a watch on them secretly as they thought he was Mino's boyfriend. Then Mino introduced him to her family and told them that Shota is very good at sports and study. Before they were in distress with him, but after hearing his praise, they thought that he can be a very good match for Mino. After a while Shota left to his home and Mino got sad as she wanted to talk to him some more. Grandpa understood her thought but he stayed silent. The next day, Grandma told Mino about her and Grandpa's love marriage. Grandpa's father had fixed his marriage with his best friend's daughter, but Grandpa refused to marry her, so Grandpa and his father had a best fight. At the end, when no outcome came, Grandma went to the friend's daughter to scare her. It worked and she pulled off from the marriage. Mino then told her grandmother she was very cool and asked her to act the way she will act against her love rival. Grandma then shouted and said, "Mino, don't you lay hand on my lover." Mino got impressed and hugged her, and she told her that she loves Grandpa, but she also loves her too. And with this, the episode 1 of Grandpa and Grandma Turn Young Again ends.